Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Saturday, July 1st, fight day. We got Jared Anderson versus Charles Martin, and I'm out here coming to you from downtown Toledo, Ohio, covering the fight live. Man, this is going to be a good one, man. This is going to be interesting. And look, it's easy to look at this fight and right away think Jared Anderson's going to blow this dude out here, right? We go to Vegas, we look at the odds. We're talking about minus 1,400, minus 1,500, 14 to 1, 15 to 1. Those are ridiculous numbers, right? In any situation where you're seeing a guy come in as that big of a favorite, you're going to think that it's going to be a blowout. And then you're talking about the heavyweight division where it only takes one mistake and you can get your head knocked off. Like, it's easy to think that this fight is going to go that way. But I'm telling you right now, man, Charles Martin is being underrated. Charles Martin is a solid fighter, dude. He's a skilled man who knows how to fight, right? Professional or former world title holder. He's only got 3 losses on his resume. Look at 2 of those losses. We're talking about Anthony Joshua and Luis Ortiz. If you look at that fight with Luis Ortiz, he dropped him twice before he ended up getting stopped in that fight. Dude, he knows how to move his feet well. He's got a really good jab. He's got power in the left hand. He knows how to set the left hand up, right? He's a crafty fighter, dude. He's a veteran with some decent ring IQ, okay? He knows how to back up and lull a guy, step him into one of his shots. He knows how to back up coming towards the ropes and then all of a sudden take this slight little angle so he can catch you with the left hand, trying to bait you into throwing your own right, different things like that. Like, this will be by far the best opponent that Jared Anderson has faced yet. Now, look, all that being said, I expect Jared Anderson to come out with the victory. But I don't know if we're going to be talking about a guy who's 15-0 with 15 knockouts. This one might actually go the full 10 rounds. It'll be the first time that we see Jared Anderson get taken the distance in a fight. But I'm interested to see how it goes, man. That's really what this fight is about to me, right? When I look at this fight isn't about necessarily who's going to win, because I think unless there's something crazy that happens, which is always possible, dude. I mean, Charles Martin, not only does he have a puncher's chance, but I am interested to see how Jared Anderson handles, for lack of a better term, I guess I'll just say his emotions, right? We saw in that Relentless special with the Top Rank filmed with Roy Jones, that he had all the pressure that he was talking about and all the emotions that kind of just built up to that point. I mean, he was saying the same thing down here at the press conference, and he was saying the same thing all week, right? Every time you heard him talk, it was the same thing. He was saying, look, I fight for my family, and I want to do what's best for them, and I want to, earn the most money possible. He talked about generational wealth, right? Being in this game long enough to earn generational wealth. However, and I throw that caveat out there, he's also been very open about saying that he doesn't love boxing. He doesn't want to be here forever. It doesn't define who he is. He doesn't want it to define his legacy or anything along those lines. I'll say get in and get out, but who knows how long that's going to be, right? I watched the interview with Max Kellerman, and he was joking about questions that you can ask him after 5 or 6 more fights. So he's talking about being around for that long, right? So while the man talks about leaving early, while the man talks about how he doesn't love it, the man's also only 23 years old. So even if he were to leave by the time he was 30, we'd see him in there for another 7 years, doing great work. I mean, there's a reason he's the biggest American heavyweight prospect that we've had since Deontay Wilder. I mean, the dude is skilled and the dude can fight, right? Obviously, he's a young fighter. Obviously, that means that we're going to be able to see things that he needs to work on. Maybe he's a little bit too aggressive. Maybe he doesn't keep his head in the right position after he throws a jab every time. Maybe he stays at the wrong gap a little bit too long. He comes in while he's pressuring a guy because he seems to have him hurt and leaves himself open a little bit and gets caught with a shot, right? We've seen all of those things when you break down the film from his past fights. Now, it's never been able to make a difference. 14-0 with 14 knockouts, still coming out perfect, but those things have been there. Now, if you continue to do them, obviously you get up against higher level competition. At that point, it's going to be a problem. Now, is Charles Martin the guy who's going to all of a sudden come in and be able to take those little flaws, those little holes, and blow them up into something huge where Jared Anderson comes out with a 14-1 record? I mean, I don't think so. That's not what it looks like on paper. But fights don't happen on paper, and it ain't necessarily about what all the analysts in the world think. It's about what's actually going to happen on fight night. So even though he's coming in there as a super underdog, definite chance. That's why I think this 14-1 or 15-1 is such a bogus number, man. It's showing the man disrespect. It should the line definitely shouldn't be that big. But look, we know why lines are set. And lines aren't necessarily set because of the skill set of the fighters, right? The lines are set based on how the casino is going to make money, which has to do with the mood of the betting public, right? Where is the money going on each fighter? Really, right? That's what it's all about. And Jared Anderson has two two things, in my opinion, that he has to watch out for in regards to this one. Number one, like I said, it's going to be the skill sets that Charles Martin actually brings to the table, and the pressure of the hometown fight. I mean, we just saw it happen with Regis Prograis recently when he went down to New Orleans. We've seen it with other fighters in the past. There's a reason that promoters just don't like fighters coming home for hometown fights, man, and it just seems like they just don't perform at their best, right, for whatever reason. And who knows, maybe that was part of the reason that you saw the emotional buildup and release that we did from Jared Anderson, because it's a hometown fight. Maybe if this thing was happening in Vegas, he wouldn't have felt quite the same way. Maybe if he was still like in a co-main event or on the undercard, you know, he wouldn't have felt quite the same way, right? So it's tough to say. Then you got Charles Martin coming in on short notice. Now, typically we look at that, we would think short notice is a negative for the fighter that's getting the short notice, right? He just got told about the fight 2 weeks ago. How can that possibly turn out good for him? He didn't have time to prepare. He might not be in shape, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the case with Charles Martin, dude. I think he was in shape. I think he was in the gym. I mean, he said he was, and I believe him. He said he was supposed to have a fight back on the Tank versus Ryan Garcia card. Then he said he was supposed to have a fight on Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Then all of a sudden he got this one on short notice. So he said he's just been in the gym. He's been training. He's been staying in shape. Look, he's a veteran fighter, man. He knows where he's at in his career. I believe he's realistic. He called Jared Anderson the young lion at the press conference, right, which invokes the classic setup of the old line versus the young line, which is what we're seeing now. So, man, fascinating fight. The big story out of this one is going to be how Jared Anderson looks. Because it's been said time and time again, man, if he comes out and he wins this fight, he's going to be looking to compete amongst the best in the world in the heavyweight division. When we're talking about the best in the world, we're talking about Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua. Right? We're talking about some dudes who are some absolute monsters. You want to get in there and compete with those guys, you have to also be as sharp as you can possibly be at the absolute top of your game. It's not gonna, I don't know if it'll suffice to come out with a solid, tough, rugged victory over Charles Martin. I mean, I like the dude. He knows how to fight. But we're not talking about whether or not getting a victory over him is impressive, because it is. Any way you get the W over a guy like Charles Martin is an impressive W. We're talking about how is that victory going to make us feel about a 23-year-old man now going in there and competing amongst the best in the world, right? That's what we're talking about it as. We're talking about it as an indicator or as a barometer of where he's at. Does he have to take another fight before he's ready to go in there and get a fight with these guys? I mean, he definitely generates some buzz, man. He's a name. You can see everything Top Rank has been doing with him, everything they've been filming, all of that kind of stuff. They're building him up, man. Jared Anderson is something special. So what he does in this fight is going to be, it's going to be huge. There's a lot of people watching, a lot of people paying attention, and to see where he goes from here. I think he's going to come out with the victory. I think he's going to look good when he does it. But I also think that people that are underestimating Charles Martin, they think this is going to be a first-round knockout or something, are probably going to be a little bit surprised at how this one ends up looking. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm underestimating what Jared Anderson brings? Do you think I'm overestimating what Charles Martin brings? Let me know.